Hello, my name is Danny Neifert. I am a licensed esthetician. I have over 30 years of experience working with skin, and I have developed a holistic process that returns our skin to a self-purifying, self-mending, and age-delaying state. And this also gives my clients a long-term solution to get rid of all of that gunk that builds up just underneath their skin. And of course, I am the creator of Skin Harmonics, and today I want to talk about fungal acne. So often I hear this that, oh, no, I can't use a dense moisturizer. I can't use rich products because I have fungal acne. And that means essentially that what that means is that they've been diagnosed with having yeast topically growing on the surface of their skin. And I think that might very well be true. And as well as when it comes to regular acne, one of the chief symptoms is that there is bacteria growing on our skin, and I'm not arguing with that either. Both bacterial and fungal acne have bacteria, and there is a yeast overgrowth, no doubt. Now, this is where we have to think very differently about our skin, because it is a release organ. Like, no matter how we're objectifying our skin or expecting it to behave, it is designed not only to protect our whole bodies with immune system and create like critical function for life, but it is also by definition a release organ, which means that not only does our skin have the big job of keeping things out, but it has the big job of moving things through and out from the inside out as a detoxing and releasing organ. So with that understanding, which is critical, because when we are only treating the surface of our skin, sure, we can get results, but it's not the results that we really want aren't going to come as quickly or as profoundly as what is possible when we address both internal and external means. And this intersection of fungal acne is a really messy intersection of all of the misunderstandings about our skin, because it brings together microbiome, it brings together barrier restoration, it brings together all of the things that are often in debate between skin professionals. So let's dive in about what is some of the symptoms of fungal acne. So for starters, fungal acne, when there's this overgrowth of yeast rather than bacteria, although I will take this moment to say that often people have both. They're very difficult to the layman to distinguish which is which. Something about fungal acne is that the breakouts can be quite uniform and not quite as filled with pus, and not be quite as angry and oily as bacterial acne, but that's not necessarily true either. But one of the signature things about fungal acne is that it can be itchy, and because of this yeast. And this is also kind of tricky, because when our skin is making new skin cells, and of course those of you who have experienced big doses of the dermal nutrients, and we've kind of hit the threshold for how much skin likes and can actually handle in one dose. It might be through the use of Superfeast, or it might be because of a deep pore cleansing session where I gave a big dose. Skin can also get a little itchy for a day or two with that. But this kind of itchy is long-term and it's chronic. And that's one of the signature features of fungal acne versus bacterial acne. And when people get diagnosed with fungal acne, because we're dealing with a microbiome upset at the root of this internally, often this is when people have weakened immune systems, and maybe they've used antibiotics in the past. So both acne, regular acne, bacterial acne, I'll say, and fungal acne have in common is that they're, again, are both exactly rooted in microbiome upset. And so this weakened immune system, these antibiotics that are being used, play into that hugely. Another another idea around yeast infection, this yeastal fungal acne, is that the idea that perhaps if the skin is overshaved or there's too much abrasion happening with hair removal, that is the opportunity for fungus to thrive. And I think that there is some truth to that. Anytime there's any like an open wound or too much irritation like that, absolutely, of course. However, again, I want to speak to the fact that it's not, these are mere symptoms and they're not the root cause. And also sometimes humid climates can help encourage this growth of fungal and bacterial acne. And so sometimes wearing loose clothing can be helpful, but if you live in a hot, humid environment, there's not too much you can do. But when it comes to fixing fungal acne and bacterial acne for that matter, what becomes number one priority is doing a microbiome reset, doing some sort of cleanse. And I know that this is really tricky because changing what we eat is hard. Like that's some of the hardest changes to make because it's so intertwined with all of the way that we regulate our emotions. And so number one, I think that's the first place to look, although it's understandable why people want to keep ignoring that piece, because the way we regulate our emotions and what we're eating and where we live and how much we're exposed to stress and toxins, like sometimes isn't an overnight fix. However, I have to speak to it because sometimes and often, if people are going to be trying to fix the bacterial acne or the fungal acne, they'll be spinning your wheels. Sometimes it works by just doing the external things, which I'm going to list out here. Sometimes it completely works, and sometimes it's just a waste because that deep underpinning issue hasn't been resolved. So how can we support our skin's detox pathway? That really becomes the answer. And this is where there's a confusion that is happening. So often people don't want to look at that internal microbiome piece and they want to stop the purging. They just want to stop it. So they will often use less dense moisturizers, and that will in fact dehydrate our skin, which will shut down our skin's detox pathway and put a band-aid on this so-called bacterial or fungal acne. And so down the line, months or years later, of course, symptoms will get harder and harder to manage because that root piece wasn't addressed. And a lot of people don't want to detox their skin. Now, some people do. And if you do, you are my people, and that's why you're listening to this. And often we detox our skin because it's the last stand. It's the last resort. We've tried everything else. And that's often how detox happens. It's like, okay, try this, try that, try this, still not getting anywhere. Things are getting worse. So then we're kind of forced and humbled by this detox thing. So I hope that brings more clarity around fungal acne and just speaks specifically to this huge piece of confusion that people have about, oh wait, I don't have anything to detox. There's nothing to detox here. All I have to do is remove my dense moisturizer and things will kind of sort of go away, but not really. So, and that's when we need to support our skin's detox pathway with all of the Skin Harmonics basics, come in for deep pore cleansing, and of course, like I've been repeating over and over, deal with microbiome upset.